is Christmas Eve, so what better thing to do than to be doing home repair? Over here we have a button that does not work. This is the button to a garage door opener. The garage door opener up there, way up there, is a Liftmaster 8500. Now the Liftmaster 8500 uses this jack shaft over here to lift the garage up and down. Normally works fine, but we've already repaired several others of these that have exactly the same problem. Now, one problem that's actually well known is in the controller itself, which is that there are some double layer capacitors, two of them actually, that they put in there that don't last very long and that tend to short out, and they end up making the garage door open and stay open. We've already fixed several of those over the years, but this is actually a different problem. This is a problem where there's something wrong with the unit up there, and we fixed two of those before, and believe it or not, it's also a capacitor. So whoever the designers were at Liftmaster didn't really quite have it right on speccing their capacitors, and so there's a very interesting fix for this one, which is, I bet, what's wrong with it. We'll see. Now, the first thing that you want to do is you want to remove this remote, and you want to try shorting the wires after you remove the remote to make sure that the problem isn't the usual capacitor problem in these remotes. Now, Liftmaster has realized this and has actually extended the warranty on these remotes, and I believe that it's still good. So if you have one that goes bad like this, you can either get a new one from them for free, or if you're me, you can order new capacitors and replace them because you know which ones exactly go bad. But we're not doing that today quite yet. We're going to see whether or not this is really bad. And what you do is you short these wires and you see if anything happens. And the answer is no, nothing happens. So we know the problem's actually in the unit up there. So we're going to look at that one next. Oh, scary. And there's spiders up there. I don't like spiders. Actually, I don't care about spiders. But there's other people on YouTube that care about spiders, so I figured I'd say it too. Oh, it's way up there. All right. Well, maybe I'm in a good position right from here. So you take out two screws on the bottom here. Here's one. You can see all the spider webs. And that's usually what happens with these things because they're way up high and the spiders like them. And here in California, we have lots of black widow spiders, but this is not a black widow spider nest. This is, it kind of looks like a daddy longlegs. You can see some dead ones here, but it's not a dangerous spider. All right, so you take out the two screws on the bottom, and then the next thing you do is you remove this top part, and you take the cover off. And the little radio antenna wire is this yellow thing, comes out through it. And the first thing that you look for is you see this resistor here. I'm going to take the phone up here, and this is the telltale sign of what's wrong. If you take this one, and you look at the board that's inside of here, you'll notice that this resistor here is kind of cookie. And I'm using that word cookie because I love watching Steve Lavimore's videos on plumbing, and that's what he calls it when something burns up. And the reason it's cookie, I found on other ones, is actually because of this capacitor that's right next to it. It says 47 right next to it there, 47 microfarads, 25 volts. But it's no good. And the way that it fails is it fails by shorting. And believe it or not, all we got to do after we remove the plug here, move the plug, and give the phone back, is take a pair of pliers. So all you got to do is you take a pair of pliers And you rock this thing back and forth gently until the solder fatigues. It's a surface mount part. And you're rocking it back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and eventually it comes off. And so here's the part.
Okay, hold on. I gotta zoom back out.
Now why don't you hand me the camera. All right, perfect. And I'm going to now show you what the board looks like when that part's now missing. So you'll notice before and after there was that resistor there, and now the capacitor there has been broken off. And believe it or not, that's actually, in the other cases of the two other ones we did it to, that's enough to fix this. And I'm going to plug this in now, and we'll see if it works. Ready? Janie, you good with the... Okay, I'm going to plug this in now. We're going to see whether it works. Here we go.
Okay.
Ready, set, go. Ah, that's a very good sound. So we probably succeeded. Now go ahead over to the little clicker and try shorting the wires. And there it goes.
Woohoo!
And we have repaired the wonderful garage door opener with a pair of needle nose pliers. But the key is you gotta know where to break the part off. And you gotta know which part to break off. All right, that's all for now. Go ahead and close it, Jamie. And I'll put the lid back on. All right, we'll take this plug out for now. Okay, putting the lid back on is easy. We got this yellow wire goes through the hole here, right over here. I think, you know what the problem with this video is going to be?
What?
The sound. The sound is going to be bad. So for future videos, we'll get a microphone that I'll wear of how to fix stuff. There we go. Now we got the wire through, get the cover on. Test the cover is really on. There we go. And now I'll put the screws in, and I'll pass this thing down, and I'll get the screws for my beautiful wife, who's a surgeon, by the way. And if this isn't surgery, I don't know what is. But luckily, I've got the best surgeon that there is.
As your scrub tech.
As my scrub tech. Luckily, she's a really good scrub tech. And here we go. Here's another one. There we go. Now we're going to hook this thing back up and see whether or not it's going to work even with this. Now it's normal when this is first hooked up for the lights to flash for a little while. That's when those double layer capacitors that are inside of here are charging. And let's see if this one does that or something else. And if these go bad, hold on a second, sweetie, I'm going to need those needle nose to make this wire connect the right way. There we go. Spin this around a little bit more, and there we go. Now screw this in properly. It's always important to screw those in the right way. And you can see the red and the yellow lights here. They're flashing there. And that's very normal when you first hook it up. And the question is, will they ever stop flashing? And if they don't stop flashing, it means that the double layer capacitors in here are also bad. And again, as I said before, this is a generic thing that's been wrong, that they realized was wrong with this particular unit. And if you're me, you change them, you put in new capacitors, and most people would just go ahead and buy a new one of these, and you can get them for free now because Liftmaster knows that they're bad. But they haven't published anything about how the little 47 microfarad capacitor in that also goes bad after some time. But I'm going to put this on the internet, and we'll see what our good friends at Liftmaster say. The thing works great other than that, but they definitely have a thing with capacitors. We'll see if this thing stops. Usually it beeps after it finally comes to. We'll see what this thing does here. So far, not so good, but we'll have hope. They're charging up, and what goes bad about them is that they start leaking. And what that leaking means, they both leak physically, they let out a little bit of fluid, and then they short circuit on the inside. And then when they're shorted, inside of this thing, basically it can't power up, and sometimes it shorts the red and white wires, which opens the garage door, and then, you know, your house is now open and susceptible to theft and so forth. And inside of there, it just shuts the whole unit down. And then that resistor that's near it cooks. That's the sign of victory. So this is now charged up, and now if we press the button, everything works perfectly. And now it's time to put this thing back. And so we just put the wire back in the wall and arrange this so that we're not breaking any of the wires, and everything should work properly. There's a little slide on the bottom, and then if I take this screw here, put this screw back in here up at the top. So now everything is all copacetic. It's as good as it could be. Time to enjoy a little bit of jazz, sip a little cognac, declare victory, and know that you can fix things too. You know that movie Ratatouille? Everyone can cook? Well, everyone can fix things, and there may be no Nobel Prize for repair, but this is like the best thing in the world.